Hello everyone, this is Corey Lefevre and welcome back to Garden Fever. I wanted to do a video with you today on a little slightly unconventional plant. In fact, more people search the internet on how to get rid of this plant than they do to cultivate it. So I wanted to do a video explaining a little bit on how to grow it, but more on why you should grow it. And that's the dandelion. Now when I say that, a lot of people out there probably cringe, like, ugh, the dandelion, the dreaded dandelion. And that hatred comes from the fact that it's considered a weed, and it is very prolific. It will spread everywhere. It's very difficult to get rid of. Most people hate it for that reason. However, it is completely edible, from root to leaf to stem to flower. And so I wanted to do a video on the dandelion because it is a weed that you can eat that has lots of nutrient value. It has medicinal values, and it's just an all-around easy and good plant to have around. It, with the lack of better words, it has gained some prejudice over the years, and that comes from previous generations that weren't so environmentally conscious, if you will. They cared about growing perfectly cut green grass, and it was a status symbol back in the days, and they just didn't have a whole lot of concern on water conservation and pesticide or herbicides and things like that. And so it's been developed into a very hated plant. I'm bringing it to everyone's attention because I think it's very underrated. There's a lot of uses for this plant. I think the knowledge should be out there, and I do think this is changing. I am hearing more and more about it. In fact, if you go to the produce department in your stores, it will, in those pre-made green bags, salad mix bags, I'm starting to see it in there. So often confused with chicory, but I am seeing dandelions in there. So that being said, I wanted to kind of have a video on it and explain. I'll give a little bit of tips on how to grow it, but it is so easy to grow that's really not necessary. It's more on why you should grow it and why you should have it around. Like I said, most people hate it. It's considered a weed, as in an unwanted plant growing in your yard or garden. And if kept unchecked, it is very easily spread. It will take over. It will, so most people hate it. That's why I grow it in a pot, because it helps me keep it contained. I've been in the property that I've been in for about 5 years, and when I got here it was just infested with dandelions, and it's taken me 5 years to get it under control. I'm not using herbicides, but doing it by hand, it can be a very rigorous job. In fact, I don't even understand the temptation for older people to use herbicides, because you have to bend over, you have to pull it out, and it can be very hard on the back. So I get it. But that being said, I've chosen to do it the hard way because I want to be more natural, and that's just how I choose to do things. So, and real quick, I'll tell you kind of how my method is. I'll take my tool, and I'm having a brain fart, I'm sorry, but I'll stick it in, I'll kind of push it aside. It grows from a taproot, so it goes straight down, and the taproot's always in the center, so I kind of just pull the leaves aside, and I'll stick it in at this angle, and then kind of pull up, and you'll hear it pop. You'll hear that taproot pop. You have to go deep, because for those of you who know about taproots, if you don't get most of the root, it will come back, which is why it's so aggressive. It's been around for 30 million years. They found it in fossils for 30 million years. It's a very old plant. It's very well adapted. It's pest resistant. So it's aggressive, and that's why a lot of people hate it. But once you yank it out, and if you get the taproot right, that's my best method on getting rid of it. And you always do that in the spring, which is another reason why I'm doing this video, because it's one of the first to sprout. So that's the time to do it before it goes to seed. But anyway, let me get into some of the benefits. It can help with heart problems, acne, liver issues, eye issues. It has higher potassium than bananas, believe it or not, which makes it a good chop and drop. And that's another reason why I'm doing this video, because a lot of people don't use it for that. Even the ones that know to eat it don't don't use it as a chop and drop, but it has potassium, so plants like roses that love potassium, it's a good chop and drop for it. So it has more vitamin A than carrots. To name some of the minerals, it's got potassium, iron, silicon, magnesium, sodium, zinc. Some of the vitamins are A, B, C, and D. Small amount of protein. It spreads through the root and through a flower, a yellow flower, and I mean, everybody knows the look of a dandelion. And then it turns into a white puffy ball which catches the wind and just blows everywhere. And they germinate easy, they grow in all kinds of soils, all kinds of temperatures. It's everywhere in the world, almost everywhere. So it's hard to contain, and that's why a lot of people don't like this plant. That's why I grow it in a pot. I grow it in a pot because it helps me keep it under control. I've spent 5 years getting it out of my yard and can't 100% do it. It's impossible unless I use herbicides, and even then, even people I know that use sprays, you'll still see them pop up here and there. So it's just one of those pesty plants that are just impossible to get rid of. So if you can't beat them, then eat them. That's my philosophy. So I've eaten the flower. I like the flower. The leaves are a little on the bitter side, and that's another reason why it's not too popular, because it can be on the bitter side, as a lot of greens do actually. But I find if you mix it in with salads and things, it's not too bad. But eating it raw, it can be kind of harsh. You can eat the root. Some people crush it up and make a coffee. I've never done that, but I hear it's not too tasty. So they make a dandelion wine. You can dip the flour in batter and make a fritter out of it, deep fry it. I don't think that's too healthy for your heart, but it's a way to eat it. So there is some scientific information on the zones. I'm not going to waste your time and my time with that. This thing is tough. If you live in the Antarctic, it won't grow. If you, maybe Death Valley, it won't grow. But it's pretty much everywhere. And I think everybody watching this video has seen a dandelion at some time. And I think it's important to get this out there because it's a great survival food too. There's been cases where people have gotten themselves in a survival situation and actually laid down on plants that they could have eaten and died. And that's just sad. If they had the knowledge, they could have maybe survived. And dandelions is one of them. How many times have we walked by a dandelion and not thought that you can eat it? You know? So, with that being said, this is a weed to grow. And I put it right up there with purslane. I actually like purslane better because it tastes better to me. However, this is number 2, and it's because it's easy. You don't need a whole lot of care. It takes any soil. If you're looking to grow it and you want the most optimal, obviously you want compost rich, loose and loomy soil, and with a regular flow of water, and that's really all you need. But it will grow anywhere, sandy, loomy, clay, in the cracks of your sidewalk. This thing's tough, so you don't need to worry about that. So I wanted to share everything with you. I'll try and find some pictures. We're early spring, so I mean I got some flowers kind of right here coming up, but I don't have any flower examples because we're not really seeing them yet. It's still a little early, but I am seeing the greens. So I wanted to do a video on this because I think that learning to grow and eat weeds is a simple solution for the weed problem, because 1, you're eating them. So you're getting rid of them by eating them. And 2, there's benefits to them. It's just like any other plant in the world, there's uses. And we're ignoring them just because, well, like I said, with the lack of better words, we're prejudiced. It gets in our way and we don't like it, And so I keep it in a pot, and then when I see the flowers, I'll either eat the flower or I'll yank it, and that keeps it from spreading. You got to do that before it goes to seed. And when you yank them out of the ground, the key is to get most of the root, if not all of it, and that will prevent it from returning. And I've got some examples. I'll show you some pictures of ones that I've yanked and how long that taproot. I mean, it can get long depending on how healthy it is. Anyway, with that being said, I'll end the video for now. please like, share, and subscribe. If you've got any comments, I want to hear from you. If you know something about this plant that I don't, maybe a recipe or anything, by all means, let me know. Knowledge is power. We've got a symbiotic relationship with plants. They provide us so much in the world. We've been using them since the recorded history, and we still are, and we will use them in the future. They are a part of us. We need them, and they need us. Well, actually, they don't. But because we have the knowledge on how to grow them, we can help them along. If all of suburbia had gardens in the back, how easy and less of hunger we would face. So I'm a big fan of gardening and growing your own food, but we're losing that knowledge to stores. It becomes easier to sit inside on a Sunday and watch a football game rather than going out and working the yard, and we've become kind of lazy to that. But we don't have to rely on stores for everything. We can grow our own food. If you want to go all out, you can actually get a lot of needs: clothing, paper, the list is endless, medicine. I mean, it's all out there. So that's not the type of video I'm trying to do. I'm trying to encourage people to grow dandelions. If you don't want them to spread, put them in a pot and control the flower, and you'll be okay. I'm going to end it here. Garden Fever, signing out.